All right. Take a moment, look over those 3 problems, please, and think about how you would do it. I have them typed up here, okay, on this piece of paper that's coming around here.
What did I say like 5 minutes ago?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I just figured you were wrong.
These are what we're taking notes on.
Hours.
Oh,
2 hours and 30 minutes.
Every time you try to put something on my hand,
all right, ladies and gentlemen. How many inches are in a 24-foot room? How would you figure that out? 24 times 12. Very good. Okay, we know that in 1 foot.
Or as I like to do, 12 times 12, then you still be like,
There are 12 inches. So if you're dealing with a 24-foot room, then you have to take 12 times 24.
288.
288 what? Inches. Good. Okay. All right. How many hours is a 150-minute train ride?
2 hours and 30 minutes.
How would you figure that out?
You divide 150 by 60.
Good. Okay. If you want to go from minutes to hours, you're going to take 150 divided by 60. The zeros cancel out there real nice like. What can you divide both 15 and 6 by?
3.
3. Okay. So 5 over 2 or 2.5. What's our label at that now? Hours. Everybody okay with the first 2? Yeah. Okay. On the last one. 12 is 32% of what number?
Wait. There's an easy way to take this.
Don't you
Take
multiply
32 and then you
What is
times
1.12?
112. 32% can be written what way?
0.32.
Also, it can be written as a fraction.
32.
Over 100.
Over 100. Okay, 32% is the same thing as saying 32 over 100. Okay, is means equal, so we'll put an equal sign there. 12 is 32% of what number? So you'd put 12 here. We're searching for a number. So if we don't know what it is, what do we call it?
X.
X. Okay. You can always set up a percentage problem this way. All right. What can you do if you have a fraction equals a fraction like this? Cross multiply. Good. Okay. So if we cross multiply, what is 32 times x?
32x.
32x. And what is 12 times 100?
1200.
Okay. And then, Lindy, if we want to get x by itself, what would you do now? Good. Divide both sides by 32. You have a calculator. You can do that. What? 37.5.
Yeah, I just divided 12.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, Sydney, we're glad for you.
Yeah,
What'd you do? Because
What'd you do?
I divided 12 by 130.
And that works as well. This will always work, so if you have a moment where you freeze, you can always set it up like that as a proportion equals a proportion and solve that way. All right. Addie, you good?
Yes.
Kelsey, all right? Okay. Moving along. So we're going to talk about statistics today. And there's always these words involved when you're doing statistics. Okay? So on your paper, we're just going to write down what they all stand for. What's another word for the mean? Average. Very good. And Hunter, how do you find the average of something?
We'll have to find out how many there is.
Perfect. Allie, what's the median?
Is that the middle number?
It is. Good. Just like in a big city on a highway, there's always a median in the middle dividing the highways. Okay, so the median's always in the middle.
It sounds like
Okay. Axel, what's the mode?
This is the lowest.
Mm-mm. Hint, it means a word that starts with M-O.
It's the most common word.
Most. Mode and most common. Very good.
range
Okay.
is the biggest number.
Minus.
Smallest.
Good. Okay. When you're talking about, in this case, when we're talking about a range of numbers, we're talking about the biggest number minus the smallest number. If we were talking about a table of values and I asked you for the range, would you look at the x values or the y values? 50% chance. Yep. If I gave you a table of values and asked you for the range, you would do the y values. Okay. How about outliers?
The least common numbers?
You're both not wrong. It's the numbers that are significantly different than everything else. Okay.
All the above. So if you had like a 2, 3, 4, and 200, that would be.
An outlier, yes. The numbers that are significantly
The outside.
So the black sheep.
different, if you will, yes. Different than the others.
Black sheep.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, I remember now
Black
about
sheep.
it.
That's so great.
There's like one, two,
I got died.
Okay,
Have you ever seen the movie Black Sheep?
let's talk about that once we're done with statistics. Hunter, how old are you?
Old enough.
Try again.
15.
Thank you. Evan, how old are you?
15.
Lindy?
Ask me.
Sydney?
15.
Christian?
15.
Kelsey? Addie?
15,
Allie?
16.
Jacob?
16.
Axel?
2.
1.
15.
Huh?
Two.
How old is Lincoln?
Huh? And I'm 32.
Oh, they meant Lincoln.
No, me. Had to think for a moment. Okay. All right. So those are all of our ages. We're going to find all of these things about our ages. Should we leave it written in that way?
No.
No. What do you always want to start with?
14 at the beginning.
Good. 14 at the beginning. Always put your smallest one first. Okay. All right. And then let's see. How many 15s have we got here?
7.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hopefully on the EOC, they will already have it written in order for you. But if it's not, you'll have to do it. I know, it is a pain, so fingers crossed. All right, how many 16s have we got here?
2.
2?
Or Spanish.
And then the 32. Okay. All right, now, just looking at it, what can you tell me?
But the
15
15
is
is the
the
mode.
mode.
It's the mode. What else is it?
The median.
The median. Good. Okay. So already, just looking at it, we know that our mode is 15. Our median is 15. What else can you tell me just by looking at it?
The outlier is 32.
We have an outlier. Okay. Our outlier is 32.
She's an outcast.
Your mean is.
Is everyone okay with all three of those?
Yeah.
Okay, now those you can tell by just looking at it. You have to do some computations to figure out your average or your mean, and you do have to do a computation to figure out your range. So, I want you doing the mean right now. Hold on, we'll see if everybody else gets it. Okay. But figure out the range too.
I got the range.
Wait, how do you find the mean again?
You find the average. Hunter, how do you find the average?
Yeah, I'm allowed to divide by how many numbers there are.
And we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. There's 11 of us.
11.
Da, 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 da.
Most common number.
You have to add
That,
them all up.
that made me angry last night.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, they were doing it on purpose.
I want to go over there and kill him.
Okay, Hunter?
Divided by how many?
11.
I can't even tell how many 15s I put.
Well, you know there's 7 of them, so if you wanted to, you could write
Yeah, I know,
15
but
times
I
7.
can't. It's like confusing. You go
Can we do 15 to the
Are you
7?
kidding me?
There's one.
So, do
15 times.
15. Put in a
We
14.
will do 15 to the 7.
1, 4, plus. There's 7 of them, so 15 times 7. Because there's 7 of them.
Plus
16 times 2 plus 32. Now divided by 11.
16 plus 6.
That's not what I got.
60.
Wait, so which
Axel, what did you get for your?
for the mean, would you lose
Oh,
16
was that for your range?
6.
What did you get for the mean?
Good, okay. Should have gotten 16.6 for the mean. Was everybody able to get that?
Chris,
Yeah.
if you were to hit a number on there, that would have been.
Okay. Jacob, did you get 16.6?
Got the poop right here.
Okay, now, let's talk about the range. Addie, what'd you get for the range? How'd you figure it out?
I don't remember. Oh, I took the biggest number.
Which is?
Smallest was 32 minus 14.
Leaving the ground.
Gentlemen, stop. 18 you said, Addie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. All right. Is everybody comfortable with finding all of these things? This is all a review right now, correct? Okay, good. Let's talk about what would happen if I added one more person to the class. Okay? And I want the mean to be 15. Everything else was 15. Well, almost everything else was 15. So I also want the mean to be 15.
Who's your sport team?
All right, so let's talk about how you would do this. How do you find an average?
You add everything together and divide by how many there are.
Okay, if we're adding one more person to our class, what would we be dividing by?
12,
We'd be dividing by 12. What do we want the average to equal?
15.
15. Okay. Now,
183 plus 15 divided by 12.
hold on. 183, that's what you got when you added up all of us in here, correct? Do we know how old this other person is?
No.
So if you don't know how old somebody is, what should you call it? X. So we're going to write plus X right here. Please write this down on your paper. Okay, I have this problem typed up for you. On the blank line, write 15. And then underneath of that, write down what's here. This 15 is the average or the mean that we want. So that's why it's like the equal sign. Okay? 12 is our new total number of people in our class. 183 was the sum of all 11 people in our class. And then X is the age of the extra person. Now, in terms of solving this, please write down.
I like how you explained that, Miss.
What?
You explained it.
Okay, so you're good with all of it. Now, when we talk about solving it, if we want to get rid of a fraction, because that is what we have here, what should we do?
Divide.
Well, it actually says divide, so how do you undo division?
Multiplication.
Good, so what do we need to multiply by?
183 times 12.
No.
I don't know. Wait, 15 times 183.
Nope.
No, you got to multiply by 12.
Good. Whatever your denominator is, that's what you're multiplying by.
That was my next one.
Okay, so you have 183 plus x over 12 equals 15. You're multiplying both sides by 12. Now, Addie, over here, what happens with your 12s?
They cancel out.
Good. So does that change anything in the numerator?
No.
No, that's just what's left. So 183 plus x. Now, on the right-hand side, Kelsey, what is 15 times 12? 180. Huh, interesting. Okay. And then, Lindy, if we want to get x by itself, what's our next move?
Are you gonna tell me that he's 3 years old?
Yes, I would need to bring my son in. Yeah, we're trying to get x by itself, so we need to minus 183.
That's all.
Okay? So our extra person would need to be 3 years old.
Wow.
Okay?
Ow.
Please have this written down. This is a really good example. Are you okay with how we set up the equation? Kelsey, are you okay with how I set all of this up? Evan? Okay. Ashley, you okay back there?
Yeah.
All right. Adam, you good? Can I go to the next thing? Hunter, are you good? Okay. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, just kind of a review of the different types of graphs that you might be asked to look at. Stem and leaf, histogram, box and whisker, and a line graph,
Box and whiskers are my favorite.
which is what this is. Okay, we got a box and whisker. So notice they've highlighted the nice things for you there. Okay, whatever's in the middle, that's your median. Okay, whatever's your whiskers, that's your minimum and your maximum.
Pretty simple.
Your upper quartile right here, your lower quartile here. Does anything on there tell us what the mean is?
No.
No, so if you're given a box and whisker plot,
You have to do it yourself.
well, and actually you can't because you don't have the data. So you can't figure out the mean. Okay? So on your box and whisker, turning the page over, okay? For this one, the mean would be, we have no idea, no solution. For the median, can we,
Can I have your attention, please? All high school track students who have not eaten lunch, please report to the commissary at this time. All high school track students that did not eat lunch yet. Thank you.
alright, you guys there? Can we figure out the median if you've been given a box and whisker plot?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. You are kind of guessing there,
It's
but
like, I'd say 220.
220 I would say. And again, this would be something that would be a multiple choice, so you would select whatever looks closest. There you go. Okay, here you go. Alright. If there were, can we figure out the range? Yes. Okay. We'd have to eyeball it, like we'd have to estimate your highest minus your lowest. Could we figure out the mode? Can we know which number is happening the most?
No.
No, we can't. Okay. Bye, sweetheart. Good luck. Run fast. All right. Could we figure out outliers?
Yeah.
Yes. Particularly your whiskers. Okay. This whisker is kind of far away from everything else. So 312, 320. Okay, that would be our outlier. Good. All right. One other thing that I want to talk about. We're kind of going to go quickly through these. You saw this one on the practice that we did. The key is very important here. Okay. If 1, 3 means 13, then this number is 198. Okay, right here, that would be 198. This would be 50, 51, 52, 55, 57. So when they ask you for the mode, specifically let's talk about the mode. Which one's happening the most? There's 2 here. Okay. Would you write that down as 4 and 8? No. How would you write it down? 48 and? 14. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 2 numbers occur the most in the entire stem and leaf plot.
But I don't understand where you get 48 and 4.
That's what this means. The 4 here is like your tens number,
Oh, that makes sense.
and this is the digit. That's why I'm saying the key is very important. Yep. So that's why this is a 10 spot, and that's the one, so that makes it 14.
That makes sense.
Okay. If the key had been written that 1 line 3 meant 1.3, then would this still be 48?
No.
It would be 4.8 and 1.4. Okay, so your key is very important on your stem and leaf.
These are so weird.
Something else that you saw on there was different types of shapes of graphs. Okay, so this is underneath the stem and leaf plot where it says curve shapes. It can be, a histogram can be U-shaped, which means it literally looks like a U. Sketch these, like draw these down, please. Okay? A U-shape is when your histogram starts big, goes little, and then goes big again. A bell shape is when it starts little, grows big, and then goes little again. Left skewed means that the taller the taller rectangles of your histogram are on the left. Right skewed means that the taller rectangles are pushed to the right. If you have a histogram, can you figure figure out a mean? No. The only time you can figure out a mean is if you've been given the data points. Please catch those four. There's a U shape, a bell shape, right skewed, and left skewed. Can you figure out the median from a histogram?
Yeah.
Nope,
I
okay.
disagree.
You cannot. Could you figure out mode?
Yeah.
Which one happens the most? That one would be your tallest rectangle. Okay. So you can figure out the mode. Can you figure out the range?
Naked.
Yeah, because you'd have your highest rectangle would be your highest number xl, and then your lowest rectangle would be your lowest number. So then you subtract.
I've heard skewed before.
Right skewed, left skewed. For a histogram, if the large rectangles are pushed to the left, it's left skewed.
No,
If they're
like
pushed to
a
the
hot
right,
stick.
it's right skewed.
Like skewed, isn't it like a hot dog steak?
That's a
Skewered.
skewer.
I don't remember.
Skewed means like
The hot dog stick?
Yeah.
No.
For shish kebabs.
When you're looking, if something's skewed, you're looking at how the data pans out. All right, so for example, if you turn the page over, you've got like this histogram. If you had to pick one of those shapes to represent this one, would you pick U-shaped?
No.
No. Would you pick bell-shaped?
Yes.
I would too, okay? Kind of goes up, comes down. It looks like what it is. All right, so this one would be bell-shaped. This is a line graph. If this one had a curve shape, what would it be?
Well,
Bell, okay? And if they asked you for mode, what would that be?
mode.
Hey.
80, which one happens the most? Good. So you can still figure stuff out from that. Oh, let's go down. Okay, line of best fit. Okay, negative, positive, or no correlation. If you look at this first one that talks about calories burned during exercise, would that be a good line of best fit?
No.
No, okay? You have to draw a line that follows the data. So in that case, would that be a positive, a negative, or no correlation, do you reckon?
Positive.
Positive, good. That's based on your slope, okay? The way we look at it, would it be a positive slope or a negative
The
slope?
one we had, it was like you had to figure out the age between the people who do exercise or something.
Mm-hmm. And that part's reading the graph. It's not drawing the line. For library fines, they're kind of all over the place.
That is no correlation.
This one would be no correlation. Good. Addie, what about the weightlifting one?
It'd be negative.
Good. It's going down. You'd have a negative slope there, so this one would be a negative correlation. And Christian, how about the car dealership one?
Positive.
Yeah. Not as steep as the first one, but yes, still positive, still
What
going
if
up.
it's level?
If it's level.
Like if it just goes straight across?
Like if this just a straight
Oh, gotcha.
Positive.
They'll ask you for the equation. They won't ask you for the correlation there. All right. It should be an obvious thing like this. Is everybody okay with correlation? Positive, they go up. Negative, they go down. None, they're just scattered to the wind.
2.
Okay.
X.
Now, if you look at this one, where they're asking you to write the equation of a line of best fit. Lindy, would you say that these would be having a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or no correlation? Negative. Okay, so we need a negative slope. So is A going to be a good answer?
No.
No. Okay. Now the rest of these, you can actually plot these on here. Okay. This is y equals mx plus b. Christian, where would we start this line at? 10. Okay, so if I started at 10 and went down 2 over 1, is that a good line?
No.
No. Okay, so I'm not going to pick B. Hunter, for the next one, where would we start that one at?
14.
14, and from there?
Down 1. That'll work.
Yeah.
That seems like a pretty good one to me. Okay, so we pick that one. You can always just graph them out, see how they look. Ladies, does that make sense? Okay.
Pretty probable.
Okay. Probability. It's always written as a decimal or a fraction, and it's always less than 1. 1 would represent 100% of the time happening.
It'd
Okay?
be like 80.
Like, what's the probability of having oxygen in our classroom? 100%. What is the probability of randomly picking a 15-year-old from our class? How many 15-year-olds did we have?
11.
We had 7 of them out of how many total? 11.
11.
So that would be our probability.
So
64%.
Okay, you have a